When I first started sailing, I had no clue what gear really mattered. The shops were full of gadgets, but only a few things truly made a difference out on the water. Over time, and a few blisters and soggy socks later, I figured out what's actually essential. If you're just getting started, this list will steer you right. These 10 items are the gear I'd never leave shore without, and they'll keep you safer, drier, and a whole lot more comfortable out there. Let's get into it. A solid, personal flotation device is non-negotiable when you're out on the water. I'm not talking about the big, bulky, orange vests from summer camp. Modern PFDs are comfortable, lightweight, and designed so you can move freely while trimming sails or moving around the deck. I've worn mine in everything from gentle lake breezes to wild offshore gusts, and I can't count the number of times I've been glad to have it on. For beginners, a good PFD isn't just about staying afloat. It gives you peace of mind. When you're learning, you'll spend a lot of time focused on the boat, the wind, and your surroundings. Knowing that your life jacket has your back if you slip or get tossed overboard makes it easier to relax and learn. Look for one that fits snugly, but isn't restrictive, ideally with pockets or clips for small tools or a whistle. It's easy to think you don't need one if you're a strong swimmer, but cold shock, injury, or even plain panic can hit fast. You might never need it, and I hope you don't, but it's the one thing that can absolutely save your life when things go wrong. Sailing gloves might seem like a luxury at first glance, but once you've spent a few hours hauling lines or trimming sails with bare hands, you'll understand why they're a must. The first time I went out without them, I ended the day with raw skin and blisters that made even holding a coffee cup miserable. Your hands do a lot of the hard work on a boat, and they need protection. There's a big difference between gloves meant for sailing and your average work gloves. Sailing gloves are designed to grip wet ropes and still give you enough dexterity to tie knots or adjust fittings. Some come fingerless for better precision, others cover your full hand. Pick what suits your sailing style and climate. Breathable material is a bonus when you're sailing in warmer conditions, but make sure they've got solid palm padding. The beauty of good gloves is they let you focus on the task at hand, literally, without worrying about pain or slipping. For beginners, that means learning quicker and getting more confident with lines. It's a small investment that pays off from your first sail and only becomes more essential as you go. What you wear on your feet can make or break your day on the boat. I've seen folks hop aboard in flip-flops or bare feet, only to end up slipping, bruising a toe, or worse. Proper sailing footwear isn't just about comfort. It's about grip, support, and safety when the deck gets wet and the boat starts moving. The best sailing shoes have non-marking, grippy soles designed to hold traction on slick fiberglass. They also dry quickly, which is a blessing when a rogue wave soaks the cockpit or you end up standing in a puddle near the companionway. You want something that won't slip off easily but still feels light and breathable. I'm partial to deck sneakers or classic boat shoes with a snug fit and a bit of cushioning for long days on your feet. As a beginner, you'll be moving around a lot, adjusting lines, crossing the cockpit, maybe scrambling forward in a pinch. You don't want to be thinking about where to step or how to stay upright. Good shoes let you plant your feet with confidence, and that makes everything else feel a little bit easier. There's no faster way to ruin a sail than getting soaked and cold within the first hour. Wet weather gear isn't just for hardcore ocean passages. It's a must even on a breezy afternoon cruise when the clouds roll in unexpectedly. I've had days that started in sunshine and ended with horizontal rain, and if I hadn't had my waterproof jacket and pants on board, I'd have been miserable, or worse, heading back early. A good set of foulies, as we often call them, should be fully waterproof, not just water-resistant. Breathability matters too, especially if you're sailing somewhere warm. You want to stay dry on the outside and the inside. Adjustable hoods, high collars, and storm flaps are all features worth paying attention to. Pockets that actually keep water out? Even better. When you're new to sailing, comfort makes a big difference. It's hard to focus on points of sail or reading the wind if you're shivering and soaked to the bone. With the right gear, you'll stay dry and warm, and that means you'll be out longer, learning more, and having a lot more fun. Because let's face it, sailing's supposed to be an adventure, not a sufferfest. A solid pair of polarized sunglasses might not scream essential at first, but once you've spent an hour squinting into the water and sky, you'll see why they belong in every sailor's kit. The sun bounces off the water like a mirror, and it doesn't take long for the glare to wear you down. I finished plenty of sunny sails with aching eyes and a headache, until I invested in proper shades. Polarization cuts through glare, making it easier to see the surface of the water and what's around you. That's not just about comfort, it helps you spot channel markers, other boats, and even underwater hazards more clearly. The right lenses let you read the water, and when you're learning to sail, being able to see how the wind dances on the surface can be a big help. You don't need to drop hundreds on a designer pair, but do get ones made for life on the water. A retainer strap is a good idea. I've lost more than one pair to a gust or a splash over the side. It's a small piece of gear that makes a big difference in your awareness and enjoyment out there. Sailing under a blue sky with the breeze in your hair is one of the greatest feelings out there, but that same sunshine can sneak up on you fast. The reflection off the water doubles the sun's power, and I've seen people fry like lobsters in just a couple of hours. It's not just about sunburns either. The wind and salt dry out your skin and lips, and by the end of the day, you can be red, sore, and peeling. I always keep a good sunscreen on board. Something broad spectrum with high SPF that stays put even when I'm sweating or getting splashed. Don't forget your ears, neck, and the tops of your feet if you're in sandals. And lip balm with SPF? Absolutely essential. Dry, cracked lips are no joke, especially when you're trying to focus or enjoy a cold drink after docking. For beginners, protecting yourself from the elements is part of learning how to sail smart. You want to walk off the boat smiling, not sunburned and in pain. Pack it, reapply it, and you'll thank yourself at the end of every sunny day on the water. One of the first things I ever clipped to my belt on a boat was a folding sailing knife. Years later, I upgraded to a good multi-tool, and now I wouldn't leave the dock without it. Things go wrong on boats. Ropes jam, lines need cutting, a shackle won't budge, and when they do, you want a reliable tool at your fingertips. I've cut myself out of trouble more than once when a line tangled at the worst possible moment. A proper sailing knife should have a sharp, corrosion-resistant blade and ideally a marlin spike for unpicking knots. If you opt for a multi-tool, make sure it's got strong pliers, a good blade, and maybe even a screwdriver set. Stainless steel is the way to go. It'll handle salt water better, though no tool is immune to rust if you don't rinse and oil it now and then. New sailors often underestimate how many little problems can pop up mid-sail. Having a trusty tool in your pocket means you can act fast and keep the day moving. It's not just about fixing stuff, it's about confidence. And confidence when you're learning is a huge part of staying safe and having fun. For many beginners, a VHF radio might seem like something only the pros use. But I'd argue a handheld VHF is one of the most important bits of safety gear you can carry, especially if you're sailing solo or on smaller boats without built-in comms. I've used mine to call bridges, get weather updates, and once, to help a boat in distress when their engine failed. It's not just for emergencies, though it absolutely can be a lifeline when something goes wrong. A handheld radio lets you stay in touch with marinas, harbor masters, or other boats in your group. And if you're taking sailing classes or joining a flotilla, it's often the main way instructors communicate. Look for one that's waterproof and floats, because yes, I have dropped one overboard before. Battery life matters too, and I keep mine fully charged before every sail. Knowing you can call for help or just ask for assistance when you're unsure brings a lot of peace of mind. It turns a beginner into someone who's prepared, and on the water, that's everything. At some point early in your sailing journey, you're going to get soaked, whether from a surprise wave, sudden rain, or just leaning a bit too far into the splash zone. That's when a dry bag goes from a nice-to-have to an absolute essential. I've trusted mine to keep everything from phones to spare socks dry, and it's never let me down. These bags come in all sizes, from small ones perfect for your wallet and keys to larger versions that can hold a change of clothes or snacks. The key is that they seal completely, usually with a roll top, and stay watertight even in heavy spray. I usually keep mine tucked below or strapped down somewhere secure. For beginners, a dry bag makes the whole outing smoother. No need to worry if your phone's okay, or if your extra layer is soaked before you can even wear it. It keeps the chaos of boating, lines, motion, water, from ruining your essentials. And when you're learning the ropes, having a few fewer things to worry about makes all the difference. It doesn't take much for a small scrape or cut to turn into a real nuisance when you're on the water. I've had minor blisters go raw and bug bites swell up just because I didn't have the basics on board. That's why every boat, especially when you're learning, should carry a first aid kit tailored for sailing. A good kit should have more than just Band-Aids. Think antiseptic wipes, gauze, medical tape, seasickness pills, tweezers, and waterproof plasters. Add in painkillers, antihistamines, and maybe even aloe for sunburn. And be sure everything is packed in a waterproof container or pouch. You don't want a soggy gauze when you really need it. When you're new to sailing, you'll likely bump into things, handle ropes wrong, or find new ways to get a little banged up. That's all part of the fun and learning, but having the supplies to deal with it helps you keep sailing instead of heading back to shore. It's a small kit that offers a big dose of reassurance, and that's priceless when you're out exploring the water. So there you have it. 10 pieces of essential gear that'll make your first sailing adventures smoother, safer, and a whole lot more enjoyable. When you're just starting out, it's easy to get caught up in the excitement and forget about the little things that keep the day running right. But trust me, every item on this list has earned its place the hard way, through lessons learned in wet socks, sunburned shoulders, and tangled lines. The goal isn't to be over-prepared or weighed down with gear. It's to set yourself up so you can focus on learning, exploring, and enjoying every moment out there. Sailing's a journey, and like any good journey, it starts with having the right stuff in your pack. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If you've got questions about gear, want tips on where to find good deals, or just feel like swapping stories from the water, drop a comment. I love hearing from fellow sailors, whether you're on your first voyage or your 100th. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and I'll see you out there on the water.